We're live. Hi. Is it gonna look kind of weird for a second? Just bear with me. Putting in the clip. There you go. All right, that looks like a perfect good angle. Okay, now I'm gonna check you guys. It's blurry. There you go. Perfect. Okay, I want to mute for a second. I'm just gonna check stream on my other end. One sec. Okay, so I'm listening in just to make sure everything's cool. Oh, hold up. Of course, my tab is muted. Okay, that's not bad. I'm just gonna turn the music down just a little bit. Okay, that should be okay. We're gonna change it up just a little bit here and there because I just do want to make sure it looks okay. So bear with me. I'm just gonna make sure everything's cool in my backdrop too. Don't worry about the sound, sorry. Okay, that looks pretty good. Yeah, don't worry about the lighter. I had a, what's it called? Candle on earlier. Okay. So you guys can come in a little closer, honestly. Yeah, because that light's just like hitting a lot. Just bring it down just a little bit down. How's that? Getting there. Oh, you're getting the reference image too. Let's bring it down just a little bit more. That's actually not bad. That's not bad, actually. So we're going to be working on this piece for a little bit. So it's going to be an hour. We're going to work on this half. And then the next half, we're going to be working on another drawing under this, well, this sketchbook. I can't talk. I can't talk at all. Jesus. Oh my god. But yeah, we're going to be doing this for a little bit for the next hour. And I'm going to walk you guys through on how to actually get this type of definition and kind of style. So have some in the background or whatever you might be working on, and we can go from there. I'm sorry it's not like going from step 1 to step 10 here, but I'll just walk you through what I have so far and show you how to do values, how to do the dark shades and everything like that from other parts of the piece that I need to finish anyway. So we'll just do that for the next hour. I don't have Pomodoro up on, you guys can see it, but I'll just put it on my end on my monitor so I can see it. So I can also see chat too. So if I happen to miss something, I'll just look over my shoulder. So if I miss, I'll let you know. Okay, I'm just getting the second drawing out of my sketchbook so I don't have to feel like I'm scrolling through a bajillion bunch of pictures. Yeah, scrolling is a word for a sketchbook, that makes sense. Just getting, man, I have so many drawings in here in this book. I might need to get, I actually do have to get a new sketchbook pretty soon. I did do this one. I don't mind just showing this one. So this was one of the drawings I did for, what's it called? My Minecraft skin. And she's supposed to be like a flame candle-like character. You can barely kind of see it. It's kind of bright. Yeah, that's okay. So, yeah, I did this one just a little while ago. And I even put the song that I had the idea from. It was really fun. I'm still working on some details and still practicing with Procreate because honestly, that app is kind of hard with just trying to get a full detail design. I followed tutorials, yeah. I don't know why I can't find this drawing. You gotta be kidding me. But yeah, I'm trying to find tutorials to do. I can't find that drawing. I'm going to go insane. What is wrong with this? Yeah, you're just gonna hear flipping pages for the next like 5 or so minutes. Because I could have sworn it was in this book though. What the heck? I might be coming up to it pretty soon. Because there's like a lot of other like Friday Night Funkin' drawings I have in here that I have not shown yet. Which I don't mind just saying that outright because I just been meaning to post that, but you know, it's just a lot of other projects that I'm working on just at once because I get bored and I just need 100 different projects at once. Well, I can't find it in the next like 2 minutes. I'm just gonna go ahead and get started on the first drawing. Well, I wanted to set it out so I can be ready for the next one, but as soon as I saw it was already 8 o'clock, I was like, oh crap, okay, now I have to go get started with stream. Not you, not you. I forgot about you. I actually like this drawing. I'm not going to show it, but I like this one. It's like very vague. I'm just like saying, oh, I like this one. We have no idea what it is. That's crazy. It's like a lot of Pinterest style art drawings in here that I did. I forgot. I've just been busy with school, so I haven't really looked at the sketchbook too much. I've already been past this drawing. What the frick? What, can I find it? This is so odd. Why can't I find this drawing? That is so weird. And if any case, if there's a reason why like the music is okay, I freaking found it. Oh my god. Oh, this is our second drawing. Don't worry about my nails. We're not going to talk about that. So this is Spring Bonnie. I'm just going to do the book cover art for Into the Pit, Five Nights at Freddy's. So we're going to do that in the next hour. Even though we're losing a little bit of time now, it's about hitting 9 minutes now in this session. We're going to go ahead and just go and get started on this guy right here. And just go and get it started. Okay. Just brilling up my chair. So I'm going to just check if you guys can hear me still from down here. Because the camera is actually... yeah, like that. Like, it's like I just hit it. Great. Again, great. There you go. Yeah, you guys can hear me just fine from here, so that's good. So our materials that we have here is just going to be all just illustration work. So most of the illustration works, you don't need too much. In comparison to most videos that you might see it from, you don't really need a lot. I'm going to be very honest and frank with you. So, hang on. I should turn my audio off because all I can hear is myself right now. Okay, that's better. So, what you're going to need really is pretty much what you need for illustration, or if you're drawing, you're just going to need just pencils. You're going to just need pencils. You're going to need just basically one of these here, blending stumps. Blending stumps are basically rolled up pieces of paper and they're just made into stumps, so you can be able to do much more finite works of art, and you can make it much more easily for basically, how do I explain this? Basically, you're just smothering in the entire piece and the pencil lead, and you're just making it much more smoother, into much of the texture that you're looking for. Most people prefer, of course, a smoother texture because honestly, it makes it look much more realistic in some sense. A lot of different artists will say different ways how they like it. I have my box here of different charcoals because sometimes some artists will go to the lengths of using some charcoals. Let me see. That are like, well, I'll talk about this another time. Like, this is a 2B pencil. It's a medium, so it's much more in the softer range, medium being in the middle range. Let me turn this down a bit. Okay, that's better. So this is like in the medium range. It requires like a little bit less of pressure on it, on the drawing itself. And mostly because the charcoal art or charcoal pieces or charcoal sticks, they are much more darker than most pencils are. And also it does matter which type of number you're using, based on which style you're going for. Most times if you're going for something that is a little bit more in the darker values, like this piece here, we look at the reference, it does have a lot of dark values in the drawing, in the art piece itself, or in the picture itself. So it's going to need a couple of those, which in some cases is much more in her clothing and much in her hair, in her eyes. It requires a lot of dark shadowing. So for her eyes, I did that purposely where I didn't put as much dark value into it, because obviously in comparison to, like, say her eyeshadow here, it doesn't require this amount of darkness into it, so I don't need this. If anything, I would use this much more around her eyeshadow right here or around her eyelid to create a much more darker value into her eyes. So yeah, that's where you will mostly use this type of pencil. You don't have to use it, and it's honestly a give or take if you want to use it. In art, you can use pretty much any material you really want, any way that really makes the art piece the way that you're imagining it to be, really. If that makes sense, let me know. If it doesn't, I could try explaining it in a different format. But anyways, we're gonna go ahead and get started. I do have another pencil box. I can't find it for some odd reason. Because it has like pretty much all of my other stuff in it. So, and I was rushing into this stream tonight, and I was like, okay, I have to get started at some point here. So this is pretty much my other one that I have. I think my friend got this for me, or if I got this for myself, I can't remember. But I love this one. It's pretty much easy. It's pretty much right to the point. You can get this pencil box from, what's it called? Five Below, depending on where you are. You can get this at Five Below, and it's pretty much easy. It gives you pretty much everything you're looking for. From even one of these, we use this for, it's like the feeling and the texture of a, what's it called? Almost like sandpaper. So we use this mostly when we want a sharper edge to our pencil lead. So that helps it, honestly, and we can use it for that. What's funny is that they gave you your starter like pastels here from browns, white, and, oh, you can't see it. They gave you these. So pastels are just another form of charcoal, and it's really good. It's really fun. I always recommend people, and just like my teacher started with me, they gave me these starter colors: terracotta, brown, and like a darker umber brown. So these 4 colors are usually used for starter charcoal pieces. And yes, they are useful. Yes, they are honestly very nicely used for learning how to do values in charcoals, and playing with highlights, different ways of, different formats with basically all the differences of using charcoals in any way. So yeah. So along with that, they give you this starter, what's it called? Little starter stumps that I have here. These are from Artist Loft. If you know Artist Loft, it's from Michael's. You can get those anytime you like. It's not a very, very much expensive price at all. I think these two are about like for this pack like maybe $2 or $3, probably less than that, because these are pretty much easy to grab and it's artist loft. So yeah, I'll give that another tutorial day where I talk about art supplies, because I know there's a lot of people that have a lot of questions on where is the best place to get good art supplies, and or where should I get my first time using this X, Y, and Z and stuff. Always go with the brand of the store. That's what I'll just say first off. Just go by the brand of the store, because it's a lot cheaper. You can always go back to buy some more, and depending on your level of art, if you're a beginner, I would recommend that to anybody, just to do that. Just to be honest and fair there. Okay, so we're going to be using these stumps, and I'm going to use some of these here because I need to open these in a minute. I would use some of those, but I don't want to use too much of them. These guys here, because they kind of have a lot of charcoal on them, and I don't want to mess them up or lose them, because I know how I am with art supplies. So some of them are numbered, so that's a new one for me, because some of them I always use for years, never numbered them, so that's new. So that's cool. Like, so you got your big guy, and your medium, or yeah, this one is your medium guy. Medium, small, and then teeny tiny. So the reason why they have these different types of sizes for these guys is because basically sort of just the same as an art brush or brushes in general for acrylics or oils, they're gonna have their specific needs and uses for different types of parts in the piece. So if it's a much more tighter piece and it's a tighter amount of detail, like the gears in the mask, like I'm gonna have to use this guy here, because I'm just gonna have to get it much more in a much more tinier tip without having to mess up the big guy here. So we don't want to mess this guy up, because he's going to be useful for this big whole section, because it's pretty much going to be dark shading around here in her shirt right here. So I don't need this here for now. So I would need this guy for that. So that's pretty much the whole detail on how to use these. And it's not like you have to go super freaking hard. You don't have to go crazy hard on these. Do not do that. You'll end up breaking it or messing up the tip. You just have to lightly stroke it, get the detail you're looking for. If you see the shadowing coming in where the light value is, then you got a great thing going for you. You're pretty much all set. It's the same as using your finger. I know this is a big, huge conversation of, can I use my finger or can I use the stump? I recommend the stump. I'm going to be very honest with you. So why I say that is the stump is a lot more cleaner. You don't have to worry about your hands getting dirty when you're touching other objects, especially other parts of your piece. Because as you can see, there's like some little lines everywhere on my drawing, because I was drawing this on my bed before. I was drawing this on my bed and it was just getting everywhere. So yeah, I would recommend anybody just using a stump. If you don't want to use a stump, that is okay. There's no rules to come to art at all. There's no rules. But anyways, I would recommend using the stump though. It's easier. It's much more cleaner of use once you're done working on whatever section of the piece you're doing on. Especially if you're leaning on it and stuff, you can just make sure you just watch out where you're going. I don't have many recommendations for when you're leaning on it. Like, do you want to put paper? I know a lot of people do use parchment paper when they're doing big drawings such as these, which I don't blame them. It's very useful. I, for one, don't have any to make an example of where to put it, because I'm afraid of using tape or anything. So that's just me. I don't have that. So yeah, and I don't think I have any tracing paper around here in my studio, so I don't really have anything to really cover the piece whenever I'm doing big sections here. But yeah, just like this, it's sort of hard to see it from up there for you guys, so I don't know, on Twitch you can zoom in on mobile, but I'll bring it down a little lower. Let's see if that helps. And I'll bring it in a little closer. Move this stuff around. I had to make sure I wasn't muted this entire time. I was about to be so scared and so upset after giving that quick lecture. Because here's the thing. I do like going into art class, and I do like art courses and stuff all together, of course, because I'm even an art major myself, obviously. But but it's like, here's the thing. There's a lot of people that come to me and they're like, please teach me art. Please teach me this. And I'm like, wait, aren't you in an art class? But I'm not trying to give shade to anybody who's in a class or anybody that's in school or whatever for whatever reason. That's cool. That is fine. But it's the fact that I hear the same thing is that their teacher isn't teaching it the correct way. So anytime I'm giving any type of like feedback, they're always saying like, "Oh, you know how to say it right, or you're saying it correctly, or whatever, exact X, Y, and Z," and or I'm very just patient with them. So it's kind of I feel kind of bad honestly because I don't know what people are dealing with in art classes nowadays, or these past years or whatever. Because I'm thinking like, okay, are they just not teaching, or are they just judging your work? Like I don't know what's happening. Because don't get me wrong, I've been in those situations before where they would judge and don't give much of feedback. And I'm like, okay, how's that? And they're like, that's bad. Okay, how do I fix it? Shade. Okay, that doesn't help me. That's not helpful. But anyways, apart from that, I'm always here to help, happy to help, honestly. And it's very much my opinion. Like, and that's not my opinion. Um, I never any shade to any art teachers or anybody like that is in the field. I'm not saying I'm better at teaching somebody else. It's just like the things that I hear from people, and I just find it very, very interesting, honestly. So yeah, I'm always happy to help and always happy to just give a quick tutorial on this stuff because honestly, it can be very, very stressful. So what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna show y'all the picture real quick. So this is what we're working with. Like I said, it's just a solid one piece that we're gonna be working on. If it's not your thing, I get it, then it's okay. We're just here to learn together. And just have fun while drawing here. So we're on this side. I did take a picture of or screenshot both sides for her because obviously, yeah, it's gonna be a little hard to get, both sides together and stuff and be symmetrical in some way. So if it doesn't look symmetrical, I know it doesn't look that easily good, but it's still one of my favorite pieces I like. So we're just gonna go into this. Okay. I'm trying to get my thoughts out of the way while talking. So anyways, we're gonna be just doing her shirt right here. We're just gonna be finishing that off real quick. And it doesn't look like it has that many quick dark or crazy amount of shading going on. It just looks like it's grouped up. It looks like it's 1, 2, 3. The reason I say it's 1, 2, 3 is because you see the light value right here in her shirt from the highlight and whatever the lighting is bouncing from. We can obviously see is coming into her middle section here with her face being very highlighted along with the trap as well. So this is the main place. So we're gonna be very much lighter. We don't need to put a lot of pressure here with the pencil. And then we come down and we're gonna be basically going diagonally. We're gonna go diagonally like it's a spear. So if you know the spear method, you know how it's like a pinpointed light and it's just going down. It's just symmetrical. It's sort of symmetrical, but sort of like, it just blossoms out a little bit. So that's kind of like what's happening here. So it's not too much of really just block, block, block. It's much more like a shade. It's like a little shade and then darker. That's pretty much it. And then she has this light value right here with another backlighting right here, which I do like that. That's a pretty color. So we're going to just do that for the next couple minutes. And I'm going to show you guys which type of pencils is your best friend to use here. And we're going to go from there. So starting off with this portion here, the lightest value, like I said before, the number of your pencil does matter. So this is a 4B pencil that comes in the box. Then we have a B, basically B as in black. So that is basically what it is. A 4B black pencil and then a B black pencil. What's the difference? And including with the others. And then we have medium. A little guy medium. So we're not going to be using that guy there. I kind of don't really use that one too much, but I will just show you without dropping one. So here's all of our pencils we have so far. That's pretty much in my box. So no, they're not super professional pencils because I cannot find my box. So don't give me crap about that, please. So we have a 2H, we have an HB, and a 4H, and a 6B pencil. So we put this guy here because he's in our B range. And then here's another H pencil. So the H pencils, they're going to be your pretty much your best friend when it comes to lighter values. H pencils, these guys are much more into lighter values because they're not really going to be a lot of pressure. It's not going to be very heavy in the lead itself at all. The lead itself is honestly a lot more thinner, and it's going to be like very much just sketchy lines and stuff. It's going to be very much sketch lines. So it's much more good for if you're doing like some type of texture in the drawing itself. It's not gonna. So sorry, it's probably not showing too much here, but if you're looking for much more a little bit of texture, showing a little bit of line fade into the drawing for your own style, then that's perfect. Usually I start with these pencils first when doing the starting of the piece, so like sketching very lightly and like putting in the schematics of what it's going to look like. I would use the H pencils, so not really using them for dark shades at all. I don't really use these for that, so I wouldn't recommend that. That's just my recommendation. But I mostly again use them for much more lighter shades here or from here, and that's about it. Because again, once I get down here lower, it's going to be a lot more harder to do that unless I put a lot of pressure on that, and I kind of don't want to do that with H pencils. H pencils, again, you don't really want to do that too much because again, they don't really have as much of lead or less fat lead in comparison to the B pencils. Like the 6B in comparison to the HB, if you can see here in the lens a little bit, it's kind of different. It's a lot more thicker with this guy than it is for the lead in the H pencil. And that's going to be around the board for a lot of different pencils, whatever brand it is. So for now, I'm just going to use this HB pencil to go ahead and do her light shading on the first portion. Can't talk, sorry. The first portion of her shirt around here. So I kind of wish I had like a different stand so you guys are able to see it a little bit better. I might put it right here. And then just move the picture back a little bit. Oh yeah, that looks better actually. What the heck? That's actually way better. Okay. Here, I'm just gonna do something on my end real quick. Don't mind me. And if for some reason this becomes muted because the music, because again, I'm on YouTube and they're saying, hey, this music is copyright free, it's fine, then I'm so sorry if this muted. And I'm giving off all this information. I will be making YouTube videos on this pretty much this year on 2025 just to help you guys out. Because yes, I have heard about the thing about TikTok and their issue and stuff like that. And pretty much that's where pretty much all of my viewers come from. And that's okay. I'm not really mad about the whole thing with TikTok. I kind of did see it coming at some point, which it's not, I'm not trying to be pessimistic about that. It's just the fact that I kind of see it coming, so I'm not too shocked. So the whole thing is, honestly, come here if you like, or if you like, go ahead to my YouTube channel or to my Instagram, and I'll be always happy to help you guys there too. And I'll be streaming there on Instagram Live there as well, pretty much to start off 2025, just so you guys are aware over there too. So I'm just trying to do something on my end on my monitor real quick. Because honestly, while you guys are listening to this music, I have nothing playing in my headphones. So, because that's the only way I can hear myself or look at chat. It's like looking up at my monitor right next to me on my other desk. So, I had to like put on some other music. Because this music is pretty cool, but at the same time, it's like, I kind of want my own beats playing in my background real quick. Okay. That should be cool. Don't mind that sound. I'm sorry. That was my laundry room. If it scared you, I'm sorry. So this is probably not the right stream if you're having this in the background studying. Or muted. I don't know. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. Okay. So let's go ahead. I got my stuff up on my background. So let's go ahead and do this portion of her shirt real quick. I might have to turn this light down a bit. because it's actually looking great on my end on the monitor, but it's like not good for me because it's like so much light just coming everywhere. But it's okay. So I'm going to take the HB pencil. So how you usually want to start sketching something or just lightly coating it, you just want to go like this. Take your pencil like this. So take your pointer, take your thumb, and just hold it like this. So like as if you're doing this with your pencil. And you don't have to be that delicate with it. You can go like this. It's cool. You can have your pencil all the way out like this. I sometimes don't recommend doing that because you don't want too much of your hand hitting this. So you want to be far away as possible from your drawing so you don't have to worry about that too much. So we're going to go ahead and just do this. And I sometimes use my other pinky and just help me out here just to be like almost like a ledge on the drawing itself. So away from whatever parts of the piece I don't want to touch or rub against on and having it far away. I could just say easily, oh, could you just have it like this? Yeah, but it's very easy if I'm in the zone to lean on it. So I just recommend people put your hand here and come down. It's, trust me, I might say it's not easy, it's not hard, but I mean, it's easy. It's easier than it doesn't say that it's easy to do this. But just bear with me, it's okay. We're going to do this together. Put your hand here, lay your hand, and just rest it. You don't have to just feel like a mechanic. You don't have to feel like you're shaking. If you feel like you're shaking, don't do that. It's okay. It's very much easy to be like that. Trust me. Just calm your body down, chill, and just relax your arm. And then you're just going to go like this. Like as if you're putting on paint. And a lot of people have a different way how they sketch. A lot of people have a different way how the brush strokes will look on any type of medium that you're doing. And you might see me just do a lot of circle motions. I do that, a lot of circle motions, because I learned that technique recently where it does capture pretty much everything within the piece itself. So it becomes a lot easier when it's shading because you kind of are getting pretty much all of the values at one without getting those little pockets of little holes everywhere. Because most of the time, and I did this myself when I did with colored pencils, much more realism, was that I will go really hard. I will go like this and I'm going down on it. You don't want to do that because otherwise you'll get lines like this with a pencil that shouldn't be doing that. So like your H pencil should not be like this. Unless you want it to be like that, that's cool. Again, there's no rules. That's just pretty much how I do it. So anyways, you want to go like this anytime you're doing this. And if you want to go into the circle motion, so basically the circle motion is just going to, again, give you this, you're capturing everything in one point and you're catching everything. I sometimes would do this, but it depends on which way I'm going for the drawing itself. So like if it's mostly like this where there's lines, I will most likely be doing this motion where I'll be doing the up and down motion. Though yeah, I won't be going off the page a lot where I'm doing that up, down, up, off, up. I won't do that. I'll just stick to the piece and just lightly sketch it. But if I'm doing the circle motion and it becomes where there's a lot of value everywhere and there's lighting all throughout the piece, rather than feeling coming up and down or, continuously going like this, I would just do the circle method. The circle method is your best friend. It's going to be your best friend when you're capturing the entire value and also the darkness into the piece itself whenever you're using pencils. So that's a quick tip if you ever want to use it. So she doesn't have too much going on up there. So we're going to go slowly up. So as you can see, my hand is slowly starting to come up because I can tell I'm about to brush against one of the gears here. And I don't have any on me. I don't have any pencil light on me. That's because I'm leaning down onto the pencil now. Much more on its side. And I'm letting my hand just glaze or basically fly around with the piece. Does your arm become tired with this? It does. It does. This is probably an old method that people mostly do, and there's probably other methods that people would do this so they don't have to feel like their arm is tired. But this is kind of like I kind of gotten used to method. And if you have a better method, go ahead and use it. That's cool. So obviously, I'm not trying to go for too many dark values because obviously it's not becoming any more darker than it already has with this H pencil. So we're going to be done with this one in the next minute or two. And this is pretty much done. I didn't want, again, I want this to be too dark right here because by the time it's getting to the gear on her side right here, it's very light. We don't want that. We don't want it to get super dark. So we're kind of done with this guy here now. So that's great. Put it to the side. So we don't want to use the 6B pencil right now because the 6B is honestly the darkest one we have right here, including with the B. So let's go ahead and use... Okay, perfect. This is a 4B. So the 4B pencil is like your in-between best friend, in between a 2B and a 3B pencil. I don't think I have my other pencil here, other two ones, my 2 and 3. So that's okay. We're going to use the 4. The 4B pencil is going to be another one of your best friends. So let's go into... Okay, I'm just going to check the music real quick. Sorry if I went quiet. Hold on. Oh, the music is actually fine. Never mind. Okay. Cool. Okay, perfect. I just want to change my headphones a little bit. Okay. Okay, cool. I'm bringing it in a little closer. Let's see. So I want to go around here real quick. Let's bring it in a little bit closer so you guys can see that. Oh, that's actually better for me. There we go. Yeah, that doesn't look bad. You can't probably see. You know what? How about this? Actually, that's way better. You guys can kind of actually see that a little bit better. Let me bring this out a little bit more. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, that's good enough. So we're going to go into this dark value around here where it's lining in for her much more darker value. We're going to use the 4B pencil, the same method that we did before with the other pencil, the circle method. So going from around here to basically out here. So let's go. If you want to follow along and use the exact same drawing or what's it called? Picture, it's easy to look it up. Just look up saw piece. Or not saw piece, saw one. What's it called? I forget what her trap is called. I haven't watched a movie in a minute. I want to call it the Jawbreaker. That is not right. That is not right. If I'm saying the wrong thing, don't quote me. It kind of gets darker around this line here. So I want to put a little bit more pressure around here. So again, here's the thing. 6B pencils, 4B pencils, anything with a B in it, you can put a lot of pressure to them. And it would like same with any pencil, but with the H, put a little bit of pressure, not a lot. Because you won't get as much value like you're looking for and then you'll become frustrated. Because you didn't read it. I'm just going to tell you that straight up right now. That doesn't look bad, actually. Okay. That's enough dark value right there for that. So now we're going to go ahead and use one of our stumps. So we're going to use this one pretty much in a little bit. We're going to use this guy in a little bit. I was ready to, but I'm like, I don't think that's right. Where is the MIDI one? We're going to use this guy here. We're going to go ahead and use this one, the basically 3x8 one. We're going to use this one, 3/8 one. We're going to use this one because it's kind of like in the middle, so we can just not have a lot of everything being shaded in and just have the enough that we were looking for. Because again, it's a big section. We're going to need this one rather than use a little guy that we used before a minute ago. We don't want to use this one. So we're going to use a pretty medium one, not too big. So obviously we're not going to be done with these drawings tonight and stuff like that. I'm just giving you guys a quick tutorial tonight on what we're going to be doing for the next couple weeks. We're going into 2025, and it's specifically going to be these drawings here. So if these streams ever happen to be taken off of Twitch and stuff like that and it become an issue, I'm just going to upload these to YouTube. So these are up for you guys to ever watch these, or if you need to watch them, whatever case may be. So let's go into this part. So whenever you're using this, you don't need a lot of pressure at all. You can lightly brush it like this. We already have a little coat, if you can see that. With a little bit of smudge. That's a little bit of smudge. If I go full in, then those lines are going to disappear, and it's gone. You got a little shade. That's all you need. That's all there is that we need. If you want to brush it out a little bit so it can look like a little bit of a Gaussian blur effect going on for it, you could definitely do that. And it's completely smoothed out. It's all throughout the drawing now, and you have the lead on the picture now. That's great. So let's go into this with the darkest section here. Because we do see a little bit of holes here and stuff like that, where it's a little white spots going on here, where freckles. And that's the best part about these smudgers. When you use the smudgers, you just gotta bluntly use it. It's that you have the darker value. You don't want to be going ham on it. You don't want to go so hard on it, because otherwise you're going to lose that dark value and it's going to gray out. So take it and do the same method that we did. See what I mean? You already got a lot of that lead on there. That's why we do not want to ever lean our hand on the freaking piece. Trust me when I say that, and look at what we get when we do that with the smudger rather than doing our finger. You can use your finger. I would just recommend using the smudger, but that's just me. And trust me, I did the same thing and having that discussion with my art teachers before. So, I'm sorry, I should have done this before. So since she does not have a lot of dark values going on, we're just going to be doing the same thing again. We're going to be playing with the dark shades when we do this. Sorry, you guys can't see it. There it is. Okay, so we're going to take the dark value that's around that line here. We're going to bring that out. We're going to come out and bring that out a little bit. It's still doing the sphere method. So we're going to just bring it out just a little bit and darken shade out and stuff like that. You see there's a dark shade under there. We can actually add that in a second, but let's go ahead and just do this portion of our shirt first. We're going to mess with this portion here. Bring it out. Blush it out like the circle method. Lightly brush it onto it. We can actually bring it out just a little bit more. Because we're going to disappear that line a little bit with that darkest line there. And when we're done doing that in a bit, we're going to be doing more of that, obviously, and adding a bit more of that line with the 6B pencil in a minute with that line so we can have a little bit more of that dark value. We're going to bring it out just a little bit more around this top section, and it's going to go up around here. And we're not going to be touching this middle portion into her shirt where the lighter section is. We're not going to touch that just yet. Just bear with me. So let's go do this. Take your stump. We're going to go up. You can even treat it like as if you are sketching with this. Don't want to touch that value because it's going to be where the lightest value is too, right there. And there's sometimes I will come in with my pencil, either my 4B or 6B, and add in those lines that I see like, oh, okay, wait a minute, that's darker. And that's okay. It's not an error. It's not that you failed at it. You're just like, oh, I see something. Let me add it. And that happens. There we go. Added a little bit more, honestly. Now that I look at it from the screen here. I'm going to use my 6B for a second. Now, I'm only using the 6B ever when there seems to be a darker line. Like around here. Just creating that shape, honestly. So I can add a little bit more darker value into that line. That's pretty good, actually. Then blush it out. And if I see some more of that dark lining right there, I will play with it just so I can add a little bit more texture to her shirt. That's just me though. That's what I usually do sometimes with some of those drawings or some of these drawings. And if I see a value that's like, oh, that's a little too dark, yeah, I can erase it. It's okay. So we use this little clay ball, this little guy here. Now I always hear this, oh, it's like the texture of like Play-Doh and stuff. As you just saw. It strings around. It does pretty much all you want. You can play with it. It's like, so you can make it into this, round it up, rip it apart. If you're like, I don't need a lot here, just take a piece off. So, what is this? It's basically just another form of an eraser, basically in its flesh state, basically. That's what I imagined it as. And I just roll it up. This is what I just do. So basically, almost making it the same shape as our stump here. Because I see some points here, it's like I need to erase it. Or give it a little bit more lighter value. So with these, you don't have to do a lot. You see probably a lot of artists that are either doing marker art or acrylic art with acrylic pens and stuff that use this. And it's perfectly fine. You can do that. And you can use these where people, you see them roll it on. And you see them roll it, roll it, roll it. It's already erased another portion of those lines that we did earlier. Perfectly done without a smudge, really. And you can already see it on here, like it transferred. It's really funny how it looks, right? Like a little worm. So, I'm just going to take this little bit of it And you don't have to go like I just did right there. Honestly, if you're ever using this and there's a really delicate piece, you can already see like a little white dot just appeared right there. Yeah, that's perfect. You can see that. So you can go like this. You're like, oh, there's something that's a little much more lighter in the drawing that I did, and I made it dark by accident. Again, it's a quick error. That's okay. It's not your fault. It's all right. Just go ahead and use this. Blush it in. Or blush it in. I mean, like, kiss it basically. You're just using the little bit of this and you're messing with it. If you're like, okay, now it's gone too dark, I can't use this, roll it again. It's just Play Doh. Roll it. Make another shape to make it work for yourself. There you go. Yeah, another butt. There you go. And it's clear. Nothing happened. I just realized that some of it was a little too dark for me, so I'm just going to just lightly remove some of this. Okay, let's go again into this. Am I using the big guy or am I using the small guy? I'm using the medium guy. Okay. I had to make sure for a sec because I almost forgot. Because sometimes I would grab a material while I'm in the zone and I would not notice what I'm doing. I'm like, that's the wrong one. Okay. Let's go. Because I make sure I'm just make sure I'm getting you guys into this as well. Hold on. Let's go like this. Oh, wait. I could have, I have a thing here. Hang on. I'm just going to move the speaker. You, come here. Well, I don't have any candles going right here. All right. It's gonna be a lot of this happening. This is probably the rest of the stream and just me turning things around. I don't have much. Ooh. Okay. Oh, that's actually way better. Oh my gosh. Now that I'm looking at this from the camera, you gotta be kidding me. Oh my gosh. Okay. Our hour's about to be up in a minute. So let's go ahead and start going into this portion right here. So I did add in my little light values that I wanted for this section right here. And it looks pretty good so far. It really does. So let's go ahead and let's see. Since we don't want to put in too much dark value into this or too much, we don't want too much dark value going into this section. That's the most lightest value here into our shirt. So we want to just go ahead and use this. Use the little guy here. We're going to use the 516. This is one that's already in your box. Or if not in your box, this is actually, it's going to be in your Artist Love blending stumps. Use that. Use this guy here. And it's the pack of 10 pieces. Let me make that clear. This is the pack of 10 pieces artist stump that I'm using. Artist Loft. Can't talk. Stump. Okay? So we're going to take the grayest, lightest value around here, around it, before we get to the lightest portion right here. We're going to play with it around down here first. Where the gear is right there, it's the same as the picture. We're going to play with that first. Then we go in around here. This is kind of got a little more darker than we want it to be, so that's okay. We'll just take the eraser a little bit and just roll it around a little bit. And we see these wrinkles around here because by this point, we're kind of like right here where her wrinkles are. You can actually, just like a normal pencil would with a stump, and you can actually play with it so you can make those lines just faintly. You can lightly sketch it though any way you want it to be. You don't want to put too much shades right there. So as you can see, like even the most little bit of lines that are even, that doesn't even have any shading, we can use the stumps itself to make our own value or make our own lines too. So I'm going to even take the, probably not the 6B, we're going to use the 4B pencil. It started adding a little bit more detail into those lines right there. I'll get to this back right here. I just might as well get to this portion right here. So we can just have a little bit more defined line. I'm just going to lightly etch in. So this is another method I use. I use the downward motion lightly, and I'm at the very edge of the drawing. So when you see me doing that, you kind of do see the value coming in where you see that bit of a wrinkle in there. It doesn't have to be super intricate to the point that, oh, it looks just like it is exactly a straight line. You kind of don't want that because otherwise it's not going to really look as realistic as you're trying to go for, because wrinkles are unrealistic. It's just like my shirt here, if I were to wrinkle it, these are unrealistic. See, those lines right there? It's a little thin lines right there that makes it look unrealistic, that makes more realism into it. Because if I were to then let it go, you see a bunch of lines around here that looks a bit more fatter and a lot more shadows around here. If I were to bend my arm, so same as hers, she's bending her arm, it's going to be very thin, very thin, very thin, very thick. It's going to change up. It's not going to be intricate. It is never going to be the same. So you want to have it that same way whenever you're drawing it onto the paper as well. But again, just the same as like we did with this portion here, it's going to be the same thing as you're doing the shadowing for here as well. Very dark, very thin, and then you're going to blossom it out. Blush it out, blossom it out. We're just coming up with words tonight, okay? So yeah. So we're going to go ahead and use our 4B pencil. Go ahead and use that. And I'm going to use that same method, use the circle method. I'm going to make sure this music isn't like super freaking copyright. Hang on. Because we're never about to hit the hour in a minute. Hang on, guys. I'm going to mute. Okay, if you guys caught that real quick, yeah, I'm giving you guys some type of video game music so you can hear it, but someone can. It's like it's something in the background in case I ever go quiet and I'm just letting you guys just look at the video and stuff. So I'm just playing some Resident Evil 7 Biohazard music. Kind of just matches with the theming of what we got going on here a little bit. So yeah. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and move over to the next drawing in just a few more minutes. I'm just gonna play with this drawing for the next 5 or 10 minutes or so because I was kind of late with getting started on the drawing altogether. So we're gonna go back into this and go ahead and finish up with these shadowings right here. And I'm gonna section it off a little bit better because obviously there's a big line in between that lighter section right here around the wrinkles. So we're gonna play with that a little bit. I just realized you guys can see the reflection of the blue lights in that too. That's funny. So let's go into that. And again, using the little eraser guy right here, we're gonna use this, and we're just gonna lightly do that. Like you can just double tap it, like tap 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 tap. That's what I do a lot. So we're gonna just lightly do that. And it looks like, oh, you lost all your value. Everything's gone. It's okay. And bring a pencil back into it and it'll be fine. So we just had to figure out where our lining is going to be at. Otherwise, I did see that I made an error and it didn't look right. So I'm going to just go back into it, put the line around here. Because the line was originally around here and it was connecting. We didn't want that. We wanted around down here because it's a roundabout right here. Where there's a middle section right here that is a little bit of light value. It's not going to be a lot, but a little bit, like a little bit of lighting. And I'm going to make a thin line at the end. This right here, and that's it. It's easy to say like, oh, like there's nothing else to our arm, like it's right here. It's going to be a lot more. Yeah, I know. I'm going to bring it in a lot more. But because that's why you see a lot of lines sectioned off right here. Because I was playing around with it a lot. So, because I wasn't sure, oh, her arm ends here, ends here. No, it doesn't. In the picture, it shows that for a minute, but then when I zoom out, I immediately see, okay, I have to bring her arm a little bit more higher out, and her elbow is like maybe around here, I'm assuming. And that's in another video. I will go full on schematic showing you guys how to do top to bottom this exact type of piece like this. It will probably be another horror game or probably a horror movie or something I'll probably do. Or probably not even a movie at all. It's probably just a character I'll probably draw out, whatever it might be. So anyways, let's go into that. It's back into the shading portion right here for the next 5 to 10 minutes. And then we're going to go into the next drawing. And that one is going to be a little bit more different because it has a lot more lighter values in comparison to this. And as you can see, this one, again, has a lot more darker values than the other drawing that we saw before. So for the next 5 or 10 minutes, I'm going to go quiet and I'm just going to have y'all listen to like OST from Resident Evil. If this gets like copyright striked or something like that, and it's a video game music, and video games are down here on this app, don't flame me for that. Don't come for me on that. I'm sorry if it ends up being like taken down or just end up being like, oh, it's deaf now. It's nothing here. Okay. So I'm going to go quiet for a little bit. Let's hope that is still going. Okay, there it is. There you go. I'll make sure I can hear it on my end for you guys. Oh yeah, you guys can hear this just fine. Okay. Okay. Whew. I think it's not quite time for a minute. Okay, so I got to. So as you can see, I got went a little bit more further than I thought, and I wanted to go ahead and go add in that little bit of shade because then you realized that she had a bit more digger into the arm a little bit more. So I used so as you saw, I used my blender and just go ahead and just push go into it because this already had enough have a lot of lid on it already, so from past things that I did and also using this drawing here tonight, I went into it and I just took some of the pencil that was already on the drawing here and I just smothered in, or just I can't talk tonight, I just blended in a bit more of it out so I can make it into that shape right there that I'm looking for. So I just stopped around this part of this gear right here, and that's where I wanted it to stop at because it didn't look like it was going up any other further out or anything at all. If anything, it's probably going to point it out a little bit more because that's what I just realized that now is a little bit more pointed out. So we're gonna just point out her elbow just a little bit more, just like this, and just do that. So we're just gonna bring out her elbow a little bit more, bring it into a little bit more shape that we're looking for, and it kind of looks like it's getting there actually, and that's really good. So along with that big portion that's right there, we got a lot more farther into a lot more of the shades around here. I added a bit more. Hang on, that's a little bit loud. That's better. Okay, so what I did around here, around this portion around here, is that I used the same thing in method I just did right here around this portion of her elbow. Using the blender, I used to go ahead and brought it out a little bit more, along with using the 2B pencil, like I said before, for bringing up the shapes of what we're going for and basically making the sketch lines that we're looking at. So I saw that she had a bit more shadowing in between this gear around here at this end. So I added in a lot more shading into that portion around here as the same as right here. And seeing how there is a bit more into her clothing right here before we get to this loop. So I might have to push this gear in a little bit more to give that much more realistic look to make it look exactly like the image. But I probably won't go that far in length. But anyways, talking about with the clothing here, the clothing that she has is a bit more darker in value with this little section I was playing with that looks kind of actually pretty similar to it, honestly, than what we got here. So I added in that a lot, even adding in those little sketch marks using, again, sorry, the 4B pencil or the 2B, the 2, oh, I can't talk, not the 4B. I used the 2H pencil, adding in those little heads of sketch lines so I could get that little effect that she had going on there in her clothing. So I added that in there. At the same time, I was using my eraser a lot around this bottom edge because the edge around here, like we said, we saw that she had two bounces of colors going on with the backdrop along with the lighting in her forefront and her face. And so I added in that lighting a little bit around here, noticing I was like, okay, it was a bit too dark and it's taking away the main shape of what her clothing is actually have so far. So do we have that visible line where it's showing the clothing starts? Yes, a little bit, because you see like a faint line right here is along the line right there. We might make it darker because the backdrop is a little bit darker around the hem of it, but we could do that. We could actually do that. We could do that with the 4H or 2H pencil. With the 2H pencil, I'm sorry. Yeah. We could do that with the 2H pencil. And pretty much just go from there. And how we do that is leave that white there, honestly, and lightly sketch in at the edge of one line on the left hand side of it, add in that little hem of where it's supposed to be, and at the very end, do the same thing at the end of it. Don't do it in the middle of where the white is immediately because it kind of loses that look of, oh, there's a bit of lighting hitting it right there. Because otherwise, it's going to be a full line and it's going to look like it's taken away, looking a bit more realistic that we're looking for. Because that's the point of using lighting on your drawings and having that look. Because, like how we have it here with her eyes, it blossoms out so much with her eyes here because it's all white. Her eyes are completely as much more brighter than her skin tone. Her skin tone is a lot more darker than it, a lot more with the coloring and stuff like that, and the filterings, of course, with the movie, it's a lot more darker. So her eyes being a lot more brighter. This was almost like the main takeaway from the entire movie was this exact shot and scene here. for the trap, and it made it look so freaking good, and it was so nicely done too. So showing her eyes just pop out just like that, it's just so nicely done. And that's why I wanted to use this drawing in particular, because we get those images of different lighting and different values going on around here. Value is the word we're going for tonight. And so I'm sorry if it's annoying you, but it's kind of like what's going on in this entire drawing. And the artists and producers knew what they were doing choosing this actress, and it was really nicely done. But anyways, that is exactly what we're going for right now, because there's such a brightness going on here. So we wanted to use, or I wanted to use, I'm sorry, a much more thinner or thicker line going around her eyes, so we can make her eyes pop out a lot more, so it could be the main vocal point that what you're looking at. So that's going to be a lot of drawings or things that you're going for. Every piece that you look at art is going to have a vocal point. The vocal point, like you know, in most drawings that have a direction, it's going to be the pinpoint of everything. So when my pinpoint is obviously the trap and then her eyes, and I wanted her eyes to look just bright as all heck in comparison to the entire piece itself, because it's the only part in the piece itself in comparison to little white spots that are in the trap that is the most, absolutely the most brightest, as you can even see with the picture itself too. So that's pretty much it. We're gonna go so far into this drawing tonight. I do want to go ahead and smudge this in, but I don't want to lose too much time that we already have so far, that we have just a little bit left. So we're gonna move over to the into the pit one, and I'm gonna play some music while I get that set up. So let's go into the next one. And we're gonna keep doing these every Sunday. This rest of my spring break, my winter break of this drawing, if not a lot more days and stuff. If you guys like this video, give me a give me a subscription. No, subscribe if you like. Honestly, it's cool. If you don't, that's cool too. If you just want to hang out, that's cool. But yeah, we're just gonna be doing these streams a lot more because I've been meaning to get here back on, Twitch, honestly, a whole lot. And it's been really fun. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and switch this out, bring in the next one, and let's go from there. So we're done with this guy. We're going to move on. I'm going to give y'all Nintendo music while I bring up the next one. Okay. Oops, sorry. Now this one, I definitely do have to bring it down a lot more. Actually, I could do it like this now. Oh, there we go. All right, so we're up now. So this one, obviously, Finance of Freddy's Into the Pit, one of the Fazbear Frights books, the first one. I did not read this one yet. I think I actually might have this book or the graphic novel. I'm not sure, but it's a pretty good book. I have this one, and I'm just still getting into that book, and plus with a bunch of other stuff too. So it's a lot of things I'm jumping around to. I'm into Murder Drones. I'm into this one. I'm into a bunch of other stuff right now, including Friday Night Funkin'. So see what I mean? It's like a whole lot of stuff. So, anyways, for this one, I wanted to just do just easy drawing, just the same as the last one. But of course, this one is much more symmetrical. Obviously, being an illustration piece, so obviously there's some little differences. Like this ear is kind of bigger than the other. The eye dripping and stuff like that, and the shadowing is actually right to the point. Is actually all just symmetrical. So everything is very symmetrical, including with the lines and stuff like that in the piece itself. So yeah, it's a little bit more, not exactly harder, but it's honestly a lot more values being put into this piece. Well, not actually, it's not. It's like a lot of, I don't know what to explain it as or what word or phrase to use here, but it's one of my favorite drawings I like so far that I use for the book cover. So we're going to be messing with this a little bit. So obviously I've already gone so far into the piece, much more farther than I had with the other saw piece. We're basically almost like the same. I didn't do like the balls and everything and stuff like that. Even though it's like, oh, this kind of looks done. What's the point of doing this one? There's actually is some sections here like around his right side here. I didn't cut it in half like I did with the other one because I didn't feel like it was necessary to do so. So for this one, we're gonna go into right here around his around his nose and his right side area around here. So far I got into where I've gotten the, getting the lines in already, where I'm getting the same texture as what they have here around with these little marks here. And the same thing like with his ear here. So I'm gonna do that same thing again, kind of like using this 2H pencil and just adding those small lining here. It's not going to be a lot, even though it looks like a heavy amount in comparison, of course, to the much more realistic picture that we had before. And this is being a cartoon like art, it's going to have like a lot more shape into it, so you can absolutely see it. So but still, I'm going to do it in my style, like I like it, where I don't see it as much and it smooths out just a bit, kind of just the same as I did with this one here. I just played with the eraser and stuff like that, and I smudged in my lines, and where there's obviously like a lot of like this cartoonish like, or what they use much more cartoons or illustrations. I'm not gonna say just cartoon, but just in illustrations where they use like a hem of light around here and stuff. Is not shaded, it's not doing any of that, it's just a hem of light used here. That's the same thing I did here with this, but just using the eraser. And obviously you can bring a lot of what you see before and what I've done before with like my Five Nights at Freddy's painting that you see on TikTok and everywhere, is that I use those same exact type of values that they use for the game into a piece of art. So it's going to be, so it can look a lot the same. That's what a lot of people do that are making a lot of this type of anime styled art, and obviously using the same exact lighting so it looks exactly like from the show or from the video game. So it's not really that crazy of a difference. So there's not much to explain with this one in comparison to the saw piece, because you could take everything that we learned so far from the other one into this one, but the only difference is you're not doing too much shading, so you're pretty much just playing with the colors that you already have so far, that you've layered out into his ears, into his body and stuff, and just going from there. Really, you're just pretty much just getting the shaping right on what is it's supposed to be, like this shape or it's supposed to be like that shape. Like I said, like his ears are not exactly the same, we can obviously see that. So we're obviously don't go for this one first. So, and of course, everything is much more dark lining. It is using a black lining around here. So it's not like the other piece where it's realistic. It's going to use those cartoonish in an illustration like style. So it's going to use a black lining a lot more. But it's very, very thin, where you kind of really even can't even see it really until you like almost like literally just zoom into it. Like his eyes aren't really using that black lining here. His nose isn't, his nose obviously is, but inside of his eye sockets really isn't really using that until you really get inside and it's much more dark values, and you see that a little bit of purple shading, obviously purple guy. So yeah, if I said it wrong and it's not purple guy, don't get me for that either. I'm still getting into this game. So let's go into it with his ear right here. So obviously I already did so much of the shaping already, much less than I did for this ear. Honestly, I love how I did this one. So we're going to go ahead and try this one out. So I'm going to go into his top ear, or so the tip of his ear, and we're going to mess with it a bit. And using that's the wrong pencil, sorry. I'm going to use a 2H pencil for this one and get his main lining in for his ear. Seeing I was faintly in and going into the actual shaping of that, and bringing those little bit of etching lines that are already seen into what looks like as if it's his costume, so we can have an idea where it's going to be stopping and ending at. So that hem is done. So all I did was just lightly go into the pencil with a 2H pencil, take that and come around. And when we get to the edge of the main line here, I go ahead and bring it in a little closer and a lot harder, and I'm bringing in a much more darker line so we can see it a little bit more. And then I let loose a little bit more and don't add much pressure anymore, and I lightly stroke into the edge again. So that's what I just mainly do. Obviously it's not the same as the drawing, and obviously it's all dark lining all the way around, but this is just what I mainly do. So obviously it's going to be a little bit more dark around here, but as I did step before, I'm just going to add a less lighting. I want to add less darkness into that edge around here, actually, because now we're on the outside of the other piece. And when I say the outside of the piece, I mean the outside of like his body. So like for most times when I see in most cartoons, if not for anime or anything else in particular, if not for illustration pieces, I usually see it where the darker lines are in the inside. And that's normal. That's of course fine, obviously. Especially if it's like the main edge, what you're looking at. Obviously his ears is the main focal point we're seeing here. And then, of course, we're seeing the inside lining and stuff like that. And the viewer is probably not going to pay that too much attention. So we're going to be playing with this line a little bit more, making this a lot lighter and still bringing in that line a little bit. So you can obviously see this is the shape of his ear. But we're going to just play with it a little bit less and have it where the darkest edge at the very end, or his ear starting, coming into the middle, is less lines. And then at the very end of the tip, where the viewer is actually looking at, seeing his eyes and looking at the ear, it's going to be a lot darker. If that makes sense, let me know. Then you lightly, and then I lightly just say, we'll just put in a little blushing in here. And it doesn't require a lot because since he's much more of a darker yellow and not much of darker values, he's going to be getting a lot less shading than what we got for the last drawing. And obviously I say that now for his ears than I could say for his bottom portion here, because it's a lot more darker around his sides and coming in a little bit more grayish shadows going here. And then coming in, it's a lot brighter. It's very much a lot more brighter this entire piece because the light section is like all the way around here. So that's why obviously he's not going to have a lot going on in his ears. It's not going to be bright. It's just going to be this main darker portions where the edges are. It's going to be the darkest portions of his body. So he's not going to get a lot. So using the tiniest guy we have. If not, I think I have a tinier guy. We got Wee Wee. Yeah, this wee wee guy. This tiny boy. So a lot more tiny. 316. We're going to use this one. We're going to use this guy for the much more smaller, less shadows. So doing the circle motion again. I wonder if I could play FNAF music. I don't know if I can. I basically like the OST for like I did before. It's gonna be like a lot of music being played here, and it's gonna be like, okay, what's the mood that's being set here? Because honestly, with the Resident Evil 7 music, it was a lot more jumpy. I probably gave a lot of people war flashbacks, like remembering their time at the Baker farmhouse. That's funny. Sorry. Whoops. Use this guy. So I realized he does have a lot of like this light value going on here. So a lot of light value, a little bit more blushed out a little bit. So the same thing like I did for this ear here, I'm going to do the same for this one. Playing with this. This music doesn't match at all with the drawing. It doesn't match. It just makes me laugh. Oh my gosh. Anyways, it's okay. We're just going to go ahead and play with that a little bit. Why is it on beat? Why is it what I'm doing on beat the music? I'm not even doing it on purpose at this point. I kind of was for a minute, but now I'm not. And then I'm going to take this and I'm just going to get those actual like colors in and stuff like that for him. So kind of just bringing in that little bit of hue of gray in there with the small guy. Not the smallest guy, but small. And blush it out a little bit. Bring it in just a little bit. We do see that shape there a lot. I want to add a little bit of texture, playing with that hem of light for him. So you can see a touches of light there. I will say I did love playing the game. I love playing this game. It's really good. They did a really great job with the Into the Pit video game. And if you guys didn't know, like, yeah, they did make a video game for Into the Pit, the book. And they did a crazy good job with it. I didn't have any complaints with it at all. The OST, the art style, what is it called? I think it's 8-bit. It shouldn't be. I don't think it's 8-bit. I think it's 16-bit art style. Kind of like what they did for kind of Nintendo or Game Boy like style and stuff. And I thought it was perfectly done. They used that same style, of course, with the 2-bit style or with the 4-bit style with Fate, the Unholy Trinity, and I love it. I love the style. It was so nicely done. So we're gonna mess with that hem of light right there because the hem of light is coming around this way. And so we're kind of shaping it in, kind of like how this is already shaped in. But I'm adding in my own bit of texture here with adding a bit of splashes here. Like not really adding in the full texture of it being super, super smooth and everything. Kind of like what the artist did here. They added in those little looks of what almost looks like fur into it and stuff. So I'm adding in my little own bits of detail here for this portion. And you can do whatever you like. If you're following what I'm doing here, that's fine. That's cool. But if you feel like, oh, it should be exactly like the artist had did it before, that's cool too. You can do that. Like, here's what I'm doing here. I took whatever the darkest value is here, and I'm just bringing it out. Kind of much more, a little bit more roughly. While trying to keep that look of fur. Without having to use any of the pencils, really. So it just looks much more smooth and everything for this character. Okay. Let's see. So I'll go ahead and use this again. Add a bit more pressure so I can get that line of light. I'm gonna use the tiny guy. So I'm using, when I say tiny, I mean tiny, not small. This is small boy. This is small boy. This is tiny boy. We're using tiny boy. Then I use a little bit of the tiny boy and I bring in that. I still have the line of the light there. But we're going to go ahead and blush out some of that dark values there and bring in that little bit of shape in there. That actually looks really good. What the heck? That looks crazy good. You can somewhat see it from y'all end. Sorry, it's not like what a digital drawing is where you can see it. There's probably going to be a stream where I can. I wonder if I can zoom it in. No, I tried. Okay, at least I tried. Oh, goodness. Trying to find the best way you guys can see this. Bring it down just a little bit more. That's going to be like this whole stream, like I said. It's going to be a lot of moving around the camera a lot. So using this dark value, the eraser and stuff like that, we're gonna just bring it in a little bit more. That hem, I'm not touching this line here and stuff. Just messing with those light values and removing them just a little bit so I can get a bit more of that light value. So it's not like as if, oh, she put everything in but it was removing it. No, it's just genuinely like just seeing a little bit more of that value in there so I can actually see the beam of light that we wanted. And then we just play with it using tiny with that edge of light. So we can have the hem still, but we can just blush it out. And this music does not match at all. I might go back to the Resident Evil soundtrack. That is funny. And then I'm going to use my 6B. Actually, I do have a couple of my professional pencils here. Yeah, I do. Wow, how did I forget? It's been sitting here the whole freaking time. I'm trying to see if one of them has a... Yeah, you also do have a... What's it called? 10B pencil. Yeah, this one is very much on the darker side. Dark, dark, dark. And you can see... There you go. Now you can see it. Okay, yeah. So this guy will definitely be on the much more darker end and stuff like that. You see how much thicker the tip is in comparison to the 6B pencil. Much more big guy. Much more big. We don't want this for this one at all. This one is not something that can be used. We could use it obviously much more for his eye sockets around here. But, you know, that'd be a lot more getting into the nitty gritty of his eyes. But that's okay. We can do that another time. So let's go ahead and let's see. I think this 6B is a lot more sharper. Yeah, we can use this one. This brand here is what you usually see for a lot of drawers. Illustrators use is the Statler. Yeah, it's a nice little, it's a perfect art pencil. I really do like these. These are really good. But again, if you're just, again, getting into this stuff, I recommend going for the art brand, whatever the company or business is, Blix, Michaels, whichever brand is around your area or country. So I recommend those. This one is good, honestly, really good. It doesn't mean that, oh, if you're not a pro, you can't use these pencils. That's not what it means. That only means, I always say that, is because for people that are just getting into it, they don't want to spend a lot of money. Just stick to something that's around your price range. It's okay. It gets the job done either way, you know? So even if you're using like a mechanical pencil, I'm gonna be honest, these things still do the job for you because they still get that smooth edge into them whenever you're using them. So back to this, I want to use this 6B pencil for a round just to get that little bit of line back in there a little bit into this edge. And now the texture feels a lot smoother because I blushed it out so much. Okay. That's enough. That's all I wanted, just a little bit more faint line. And yeah, I can see it from here too in the camera, and that looks really good. That looks crazy good. And then I'm gonna use it a little bit. Using again the circle motion. And then with just adding the little bit of darker value right there into that edge line. Then we're going to use Tiny Guy. And sketch with it, basically. Sketch it and getting those looks of fur into his ears. It does look a little bit... Oh, it doesn't actually. Never mind. I thought it looked darker in value. The darker value looked a bit more too dark than we wanted at first, but it looks good. So I think that's about it for his ear right there. It looks pretty dang good to me, but I could add, yeah, a little bit less. It needs to be a little less darker around the edge here, around here, the bottom. So let's do that. Make a shape with your eraser. I'm going to make it very, very thin. Erase that edge. Remove that a little bit. That looks a lot better, actually. That actually makes it look a lot more better. Because you can see, obviously, in the drawing or the picture itself, it has a lot of that hem of light right there. Like a lot. It's so funny because the video makes it look like it's a very vivid color. Like it's very, very bright yellow. But in comparison to right now, what it looks like to me, it's not that very bright. So that's very funny. And it kind of does make it look like a better picture quality, though, I will be honest. So anyways, let's go back. Let's actually use a little bit more of that eraser. Oh, that's better. Yeah, we wanted to remove a lot of that color. Remove a lot of that darker shade. remove. Yeah, we wanted to remove a lot of that edge right there because he does have he has a dark line there in the inside of his ear right here. But we do want to just add a hem of light right there, just a hem. There we go. That's really good actually. So we're not going to use 6B, we're going to use actually the blending stump. Bring it out. Just be like a nice light gray. Then take the edge of his ear. I'm going to take that. Bring it down just a little bit to the shading line around here. And then create a line of hem. So it's just creating still that shadow and still that hem of light that we're looking for. Okay, that looks actually a lot better. That looks really nice. You can somewhat see it. It's like the detail that I'm looking at. You can see it, but kind of barely. So that's what's the kind of sucky part about streaming on your mobile phone. It's like you can see most of the detail, but somewhat you can't, and you can't zoom in. I don't get why, but that's the thing with Twitch. It doesn't allow you to do that. So, but that's okay. Let's see what else we can do so far. Let me see. I know I could bring this out just a little bit more. Let's bring that out just a little bit more, and then I'll use the tiny guy again and take those dark values and shape out that. Just press it down just a little bit more so I can see that hem a little bit more. So it's not too overly white to the point like, oh, I don't see a light. There we go. There we go. Then we take this. The portion that is showing his ear right there, we'll take that and make it a little bit more darker. And then I'll use the 6B pencil again and bring in that bit of shadow right there into the edge of his ears. A little bit. It's not going down all the way with the dark lining. So I actually have to go back into this portion here and make it a lot lighter. So take this. There we go. And then I'm going to take the eraser again. Oh, actually, we're going to actually blend this in. We're going to use the small guy, not tiny guy. And we're going to blend this whole section in lightly. Into the bottom section, we're going to blend it up, stop. And then this middle section, we're not going to touch it. We're going to just blend in the top portion and bring it down a little bit into that middle portion. And taking the eraser, lightly tap it. That middle section, so you still have a little bit what looks like texture into his ear. Then you can erase it a little bit more harder so you can get that edge line into it, so it doesn't look like it's a thick line right there. And then use Tiny Boy. Use your blend. Bring in that hem of light again in there. It's gonna be a lot of repetitiveness where you bring in. Oh, Taj, thank you. Oh, it just popped in for a bit, but you got it so good at stream. Oh my God, thank you. I hate that I gotta go because I'm really enjoying this. No, it's okay. I love you. Thank you so much for coming in. I thank you so much, Taj. Oh goodness, like Twitch is like holding the message. Allow. Allow. Okay, there we go. I fixed it. There you go. Oh my gosh, thank you, Taj. I appreciate it so much. I'm really glad you liked the stream, and I thank you. I try my best with this stuff with streaming. You know. I thank you. If you have to go to bed, it's okay. Have a good night. I know it's like a difference in hours for you. I'm really glad you enjoyed this. Thank you, thank you. Oh my gosh, I don't know why it took me so long to realize that message. My bad. Wait a minute. No. Have a great stream. Thank you. I appreciate it, Taj. Thank you, thank you. Have a good night. Oh, that actually looks so good. I actually love that. What the heck? I'm gonna use that thin line again. And we're gonna use that. Let's see. I'm gonna make this a new guy again because it's gotten too dark for me. It's gonna just bring back those colors that black color I did not want. Okay. That's not bad. That's really good. So stream will be ending in a few more minutes. So I will be just playing with this a little bit more into his ear and everything. We're going to do this again. We're definitely going to be doing this again all together, really. Probably we're definitely just going to keep messing with these illustration pieces, really, because these are pieces that I've been meaning to finish and touch up on a while since, the anniversary of Saw, and which I didn't know was this year, honestly, because I started getting into Saw just last year. And that's a funny story. I don't know what made me. Oh, I do know what got me into it. It's because I was watching the. What is it called? Dead Meat. It sounds crazy to say that. It's like Dead Meat on YouTube and stuff like that. And a lot of y'all know, you'll know what I'm talking about. I love their channel. I love that channel. I just watched all the kill counts that are in that that are going in that stream. I mean, their streams, not the streams. Into their videos. Like, it's really cool, and I like their commentary a lot. It's really good. It's really fun and interactive. Talking about what their side of what could have been better, or everything like that. And I love it. It's really nice, and I love it. It's just funny. It's just really funny to me. And along with what else? I got into that, and then the movie history of the Frost of this. I said Saw franchise. I'm getting sleepy, so that's why my words are slurring. Sorry, and I might go quite a lot. But that's one of my other favorite things is watching the history of why was Jigsaw the way he was? Like, why is this? Why is that? I think it was Cece's World. Yeah, Cece's World. What's funny was that when I was finishing with my Associate of Arts, I was watching that stream, that video exactly a whole bunch of times. Because when I find something I'm interested in, like Murder Drones, Ant Dude, there's another guy, Trent the Traveler on YouTube, I would watch the same video over and over again. And those guys are honestly really cool. They have really good commentary. They seem like really nice people, honestly. And if anything, if I were to meet those guys in person, I would be really down to do videos with them. That would be really awesome, to be honest, because I like nice people on streams and stuff like that. And it's not to say, like, I'm not bashing on streamers or anybody else and stuff like that. Like, if they do pranks and stuff, like, that's cool, but it's not my cup of tea. But it's like, I don't know what it is. Like, when they have fun commentary and it's not like rude or just like overdoing sometimes with some commentary that I'm just not really too interested into watching them. And it's funny to say that because I always used to watch like a lot of like other gaming streamers and stuff like that and everything. But recently I just started just to fall off on watching so many gaming streams and stuff and or videos because I just kind of used to, and it was the same like dialogue I always heard before, or screaming. And I still love it to this day, and that's what made me have my passion and love for like Five Nights at Freddy's, video games, and horror movies, X, Y, and Z, and stuff like that. But I was like, I kind of need something a little different, and that's where I started to find those different YouTubers. Honestly, there was just a lot of commentary streamers or videos that they were talking about stuff out in nature, obviously with Trent the Traveler and stuff, and X, Y, and Z, different things like that. And I just found really cool interest with those guys, and I would give those guys a watch. Just my opinion, if you want to ever just watch something different, like it's really fun, just commentary and different looks at life and stuff. I'm just going to add a little bit more shading into his ear right there because he does have a lot more darker value into his ear right there because the brown is obviously is much more darkest color there, and we're still keeping that hem of light. I should have made that a much more obvious. What I was doing with the last drawing and stuff was that obviously the first drawing had it where with the other pieces and stuff like that, you didn't want it to just shade in too much because then you had the gear or the part of the body that is the lightest right there. And so if you make it too dark there, you're going to lose kind of like your kind of whole entire drawing in the part of where it's the most outlier at. What I mean by outlier is it's like your outlier is like, oh, this is his body right here, this is his ear right here, then there's the other portion of his ear right here, the bottom portion, like, or the earlobe. I don't know, don't quote me on that, but yeah, you know what I'm saying right there. So you want to keep it where you're not blushing in too much, where his hem of light that we just made so far, you don't want it to blush in too far because otherwise you lose it and it meshes it all together, and then everything is like, okay, then what was the point of making that hem of light or even the shaping, because now it doesn't look good. So yeah, you want to make sure you're doing it correctly. Well, not correctly, but you just want to make sure you're not touching it too much. I don't want to say it like that, like, this is wrong. No, I'm not doing that. I don't like doing that. It sounds messed up. Because my point of just making these videos or doing streams is to show, like, again, like a different way of how I can teach people some ways of how I was taught art, and just to translate it in a way that some people would understand it. And it's a better, step by step than what I mostly hear from when I hear some horror stories of what people are told in, their schools and stuff, where they're like, they're kind of just thrown into the deep end. And I kind of just feel like that's messed up. So I just make these videos or just do these streams just to help people out. So let's see. We added a little bit darker. I added a bit more darker value. I keep saying we or saying we. So it's a bunch of words thrown everywhere. Don't worry about me. I know I'm hitting my 2-hour mark. Like I said, it was just going to be 2 hours, but we're going to move it up a little bit more into 2 hours and 15 because we missed a few more minutes into the start of the stream. So just going to have fun with this tonight. I have something in my eye. Oh, okay, I'm fine. So obviously it does look a little bit more darker in comparison to this other ear, but we're not worried about the left ear tonight. We're just focusing on the right. And I know it's like, oh my God, we're on the right ear the entire hour. Shush. I know. But this is just me and a lot what I do. I know it's not, and I'm going to be honest when I say this. Obviously, a lot of things in life, there's a lot of cheat codes in them. But in art, if you're doing it by hand and specifically traditional, I'm not like, don't quote me saying, oh, she doesn't like digital. Obviously, a lot of my other art is digital. Don't do that. My thing is, when it comes to this type of art, yeah, it's going to be a little bit more tedious. You're going to be erasing a lot more. You're going to be drawing a little bit more. You're going to see a shape that absolutely looks atrocious after looking back at it 4 hours later. That's going to happen. This is the point of these streams for me to show you to not throw your sketchbook across the room. Okay? So you don't have to worry about that type of stuff. And also, again, drawing or illustrating in particular is not that easy. And it's fun, nevertheless. It's not gonna be I'm not gonna be so hard as like you're not allowed to have fun here. No, you're supposed to have fun with this stuff. And it's gonna be cool, no matter what you're doing or whatever your drawing is. But it's the fact that you just need to have patience with it. And you need to realize, okay, this is not how the way I wanted. It's not really as realistic or cartoony the way that I want it, or it's not in my style that I want to. That's three different things. There's realistic, and then of course there's more to it, but this is just what my idea is. There's realism, there's cartoony, then there's your own style. Like obviously this is my own style where I'm adding in my own values of shading of colors and then still adding in that hyperrealism into it. So it looks exactly like the image. And that's the fun thing about art is that there's no exact style what's best. And a lot of people do have to understand that and not be in arguments with the other on this is how it's supposed to be and this is how everything should be. No, that's not right at all. I don't like people that are like that. I don't like teachers like that either. It's not fair, it's not fun, it doesn't make the process more fun. You're making actually the artist much more, a lot more in their own head, or just feeling like as if they can't do anything else, or feeling like they're in a box in a way. They can't do anything except for realism. They can't do anything else except for hyper realism. Then you're really put them in the box right there. If you're just putting them in a box of, oh, hyper realism only, which yes, definitely teach them that. That's fine. But at the same time, don't limit them to that. That's weird. There was actually one girl's stream, not stream. I saw a video on her TikTok. I've been meaning to follow back on. She was talking about how her art teacher was saying, where's the line? Oh, the line's right there. Here's the line. Like it basically, like the teacher was trying to explain to her what the line was, but it was very bad and poor explanation on how the line was supposed to go, and that made me mad. Because obviously that he wasn't explaining it. So basically he wasn't explaining it correctly and he wasn't giving any explanation. Like kind of like the example I made earlier in the stream, like where I was like, our teacher comes up to you and they're saying, okay, this is what you can fix. Or saying, this is wrong. Nothing. There's crickets. Then they're not giving you any information. Okay, is there a way I could fix it? No, basically. They just don't give you any explanation. I have a burning passion and hate for that. I don't hate the teacher. I don't think they're a bad person. I just think that you're not explaining that to them. So if you have a new artist in your field or in your class, how are they supposed to know if you're not explaining it? I understand you don't have to handhold everything that an artist does or whatever someone is doing something new. I understand that completely. But it's like, if you're not explaining at all what they're doing wrong, or you're just saying, that's wrong, it's just kind of like a backhanded slap. And they spend so hard on it, and they think they did a great job and everything. And they did a great job. But you're kind of just not giving them enough detail to understand what they could do better the long run. So that's not helpful. That's just one of my biggest pet peeves. So I'm going to use this guy here, the 2H, shade this guy in, using, it's like lightly shading. It's not making it super dark, but I think it's keeping that lightness into it. I'm gonna actually bring this out a little bit more using the 6B pencil because this port, like I said, I'm getting kind of sleepy, so my words are gonna slur a lot. This part here is a lot more thicker into this line here that's very, very thin, so we're gonna bring that out just a little bit more. Using the 6B pencil, not a lot, but just a little bit. Still hemming in with that pencil into that light area. And that looks really good. It looks really nicely done. And then I'm gonna blush it in using the small Gadood. Could be thinner, but yeah, this could be thinner. I'm not gonna put a butt into it. Yeah, it needs to be thinner. And that's what I also want to add into that. Like, it's okay to second guess yourself with a lot of things that you're making. And again, it's never gonna look exactly right to the point. It's never going to, and that's okay. Like I said, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. I promise you that. That looks really good. I want to thin out that line there for the edge of his ear right there. And the same, I'm going to add that little hem of darkness line into his ear right here. So I can have that same. Is that the, I think that's the, what's it called? The Wii Sports, like the bowling one. That's what my immediate thought was. And I want to use the tiny guy. And I'm going to go ahead into it and blush it out just a little bit. That lining. I'm just making sure it's kind of done. It's getting there, actually. It's actually almost getting there. So I want to add in that little line that he has right there. That's like a hemline. It's like, it's very, very faint. You can barely just see it. It's like right here. It's like a little hemline. It looks like it was a part of the sewn in portion of his costume. So I'm going to take that and use the 2H pencil because it's not super dark and it's just a tiny, tiny bit right there. I'm going to blush it out just a little bit. And it's going to blush in a little bit with the crevice of his earlobe inside of it because this inside is kind of just blushed out just a little bit while still keeping that lightness. And the same with the outside, inside of this corner, outside of this corner. Oh, I can't talk. Inside of this corner here, it's still a little bright, but still kind of dark, so it doesn't have a lot. So we're going to take that, catch a little QT into that. So it kind of looks like the little bit of smallest amount of detail. You kind of can't see that, but kind of can. So it's kind of funny how it works. So that's pretty much, that almost looks like it's actually kind of done with that right portion of his ear right there. I kind of want to keep touching it and seeing what else could be done with it, like off stream. But honestly, it looks pretty much good and pretty much done on this end. Like, you can add a little bit more lining with the 2H pencil with this ear just to get in that line a little bit more. Otherwise, yeah, like that's just all it needs, like that little hem of line just to round it out. And then this doesn't even need to be added because I'm not adding that final line. Like I said, we're fading in the line just like we did with this top of his ear, where it fades and then darks to the corner. Fades, darks to the corner at the very end. So you're getting those realistic lines in there and stuff. So I'm gonna make that a little bit darker. Now that I think about it, using the 2H pencil still. This is much more darker, so this shadow is just gonna stay here. I'll probably just blush it out, just blush it in just a little bit more. But otherwise, it looks pretty much good. It's still hemming like it's doing here, where it has this little hill right here. So that's the only portion that's really the darkest right here in his ear. And then this portion here is actually a lot more lighter than I made it, because it looks a little too dark. So like this middle portion, I'm not touching. It's just this top portion here in his ear I'm just messing with. There we go. That's not bad. That's really good. And I think that's going to call it even for tonight, honestly. It looks a lot better, honestly, than we had in the beginning. I wish I had a compare and contrast, like, comparison, like what we had before, what we had after with this right side of his ear. But obviously, it was a lot more lighter. It didn't have a full detail in comparison to his other ear here. It's not as detailed as, you know, obviously we can see from the pictures. And with this, it's not as detailed because I was obviously doing this one when I was at work. This whole drawing I was doing at work and I was bored. But this obviously looks less detailed than this one that we have so far. But honestly, both of them look extremely nicely done. I love it. I hope you guys like the same with this and stuff. I'm gonna actually see something. I saw something that bothered me. It's like this like pattern of like light and then dark here in the shadow. Okay, now it's done. I think it's done. I think it's done, and then I'm touching it again. Don't worry about me. But I think it's done, honestly, with this portion of his right ear. So I think that's what we're going to call it even for tonight with this stream. We're obviously going to be touching this whole drawing a lot more, as the same with the saw drawing. Probably this one a lot more because it's a lot smaller and it's not as extreme looking as the other one does. And what I mean by extreme is like it doesn't have as much as that one is a lot more detail in comparison to this one. If I'm trying to give a tutorial on how to do shadows, how to do values, how to do, you know, highlights with your pencils and X, Y, and Z, that different stuff. So I think we'll probably most likely just stick to this one just to be on the easier side of stuff. And then we'll gradually move on and we'll start from scratch on some other drawings from there. So for now, I think we'll call it even for tonight. And I want to thank you guys so much for hanging out in this stream and for all my lovely flames, my artists, LGBT, everybody. You guys are awesome, and all my streamers and everybody that's making something happen and entrepreneurs. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys, my lovely flames, in the next stream. Hopefully this Friday, if not Sunday, and if not both. So have a good night, guys. Thanks for watching, and I will see y'all later. All right. Bye, guys. Bye.